At some point during nearly every first meeting with a new client, we ask a question that usually catches them off guard. Not because it's complicated, they've just simply never been asked before. They're not trick questions, they're not designed to make anyone uncomfortable or expose what they don't know or make them feel dumb. They're just the kind of questions that reveal whether someone has a collection of accounts or an actual financial plan. Most people spend years accumulating retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, insurance policies, savings accounts, and employee benefits. They know where the money is, but they haven't stepped back to ask what all of these pieces are actually accomplishing together. A financial plan should give you more than numbers on a statement. It should provide clarity. It should be able to answer life's biggest financial questions before those moments ever arrive. Today, we're going to walk through 3 questions we believe every family should be able to answer. If you already know your answers, this episode will reinforce why they matter. If you don't, hopefully it'll give you a roadmap for the conversations worth having. Welcome to Plan to Prosper, where we exist to honor God by helping faithful servants steward their finances wisely and build wealth that endures for generations. Logan, here we are. Plan to Prosper. Episode 51.
Yeah, we didn't highlight 50 last time. I don't think.
No, because a year is 52 weeks, so I feel like next week we should do something special.
Yeah, but 50 is like nice round number.
Agreed, but let's do 52 next week. We'll do something special for that.
All right. Now I'm looking forward to it. Now you better.
Stay tuned. 52. 1 year of Plan to Prosper is almost upon us.
It's all on you now.
That's fine. I mean, you can help too. You're just as much a part of this. All right, so today, what are we talking about?
We are talking about questions that you should be able to answer as like part of your financial plan, basically.
Yeah. I think it's worth stepping back every once in a while and just reminding yourself. It's one thing to just get caught up in your week to week, month to month. You've got your cash flow. You know what you need to spend. You know what you need to save. But sometimes you need to remind yourself, hey, does my spouse know what to do if X, Y, and Z happens? Do I know what to do if X, Y, and Z happens? I think we should have some things in place to make sure that our financial lives are as healthy as they can be.
Why does this matter?
Yeah. Because a lot of people, I kind of mentioned in the cold opening, you'll look at your balance sheet or your net worth statement, and that's kind of good enough for you. You see that number is increasing. Hopefully, your debts are going down, your balances are going up, and that is your financial life. But the reality is more complicated than that, and that's okay. But you should have some way of straightening it all out when the time comes to be able to answer questions and solve problems that you may have that arise.
I do wonder how many people even look at their balance sheet. I remember one client who was getting ready for retirement. We put together the financial plan with the balance sheet. And I think at the time as he was retiring, as he was retiring, he and his wife, they had probably a balance sheet at I think it was $4 million. And he started getting a little bit emotional. He was like, I knew I did well for myself, but I had no idea I did this well.
Wow.
So he just kind of never considered all of it together.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to track ours quarterly, just to see the balance updates each quarter, just for my own sake. And it's nice to see, because sometimes it feels like, man, we're not saving as much as we should be, or like we have a big expense that comes up or whatever. But in the background is money that you're not touching that is still growing, and debts that are continuing to be paid off if you have them. Your 401k is likely building in the background that you're not even thinking about because you're not using that at all. And so you can update your net worth once a quarter or maybe just once a year and go, wow, we're doing better than I thought, just like that guy. It can be helpful.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just that.
Right.
And that's what we want to tackle today.
Yeah. Should we get into the first question?
Let's do it.
If something happened to you tonight, if you died tonight, what happens tomorrow?
Yeah.
Starting with a good old bright question.
Right. I mean, we have to think about it, especially if you're single and you have no dependents. This isn't as important of a question.
Yeah.
I think it's important to maybe have a small life insurance policy. You might already have that through work.
Don't burden your parents or something.
That can cover funeral expenses. But besides that, you don't have too much to worry about here. But if you're married and if you have dependents, this is a really important question.
However, if you're single and you have a lot of wealth, it's also an important question.
Yeah.
Because all that wealth is going to go somewhere.
True. Yeah. And you know, depending on your makeup, you might have a great plan for that, and you might have a will in place already. Like we'll just look at the wealthy single person, and you know exactly that's great. That's kind of the purpose of this question: is you are you dialed in on where you want that all to go?
Yeah.
If not, you should really think about that so that it doesn't just end up in probate and it goes to wherever.
Right.
So, but if you're married and have kids, this is a particularly pressing question because there's lots of things at stake here.
Yeah.
So this is about loving your family and one of the ways that you can provide for them.
Yeah, and probably the biggest thing is just where's the income going to come from?
Yeah.
If you're the primary breadwinner.
Right. Yep. So if only you were to pass away, like you're not in a car accident where you and your wife both pass away or whatever, what happens? What is your wife going to do to take care of your family while you're gone, or vice versa? If you're the wife and you pass away, how does your husband's income provide if your income suddenly goes away? Just answer that question. Where is the income going to come from?
Right. Expenses aren't going away.
Right. Exactly. Does your spouse know where everything is? Are you the person that's managing your finances? Do they know how to get into your bank account?
Do they know what all you have?
Yeah. One of my favorite comedians is Nate Bargatze, and he has a whole bit about how his wife handles all the finances. And he's like, I don't even know what bank we use. Like I don't even know who I would ask to figure that out. I think I might call my mom and ask her if she knows, because she would probably know better than I would. So does your spouse know what bank you guys use and how to log into it?
Yeah. Is there one person like a financial advisor that you can contact for all this?
Exactly. It's one of the big benefits that we seek. One of the big value adds that we want to try to offer our clients, especially clients that are just getting a little bit older, and they let's say they're a married couple and one spouse is starting to kind of decline a little bit, and they're concerned about their spouse when they're gone. Your dad has offered to go and to their house and organize everything for them to make sure that everything's in the right place, where once that person were to pass away, you could just go into this safe here and everything that you need is right here. Insurance policies, passwords, everything is right there. It's one of the things that we try to add value there, because you have enough on your plate when your spouse passes away. You don't need to be worried about this too. Let's let somebody else handle that.
Yeah, there was one client with a numbered file and cabinet system, and I think he had 16 filing cabinets, and so I went through each of them. Here's what's in number 1. Here's what's in number 2.
Wow. Good on you. It's thankless work, but maybe they probably did thank. Yeah. That's good. Is there life insurance? Do you have life insurance policies in place? You should probably be thinking about that, especially if you are the sole income earner. You absolutely need to be thinking about. It goes back to that first question. How's your spouse going to pay for everything?
Yeah. Is it, even if you have it, is it enough?
Right. So we like to run life insurance analyses for our clients to assume, hey, like let's just assume a family where the dad's working, the mom stays at home with young children, and you don't want her to have to go back to work. Excuse me. We'll run a life insurance analysis to figure out how much life insurance do you need in place so that she doesn't have to go back to work. And that investment, you could invest those assets and it could last for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
It's an important question to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check your beneficiaries on your accounts.
I think this one's too overlooked.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you think or what the government thinks, or if it goes to the legal... If it goes to the legal...
Just ignore me.
If it goes to the legal system, ultimately the only thing that anybody's going to care about is what your who are the beneficiaries on your account.
Listen, I don't know what, I'm on a clumsy streak right now. This was happening in the office yesterday where I was knocking over stuff on my desk all afternoon, and I just kicked over our sign here. Our lovely sign provided by Westchester Studios. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here or anything. I'm not trying to interrupt you as you're
talking about one of the most important things in this whole episode.
So I'm sorry. Let's get back on track here, though. This is an important thing. What were we talking about?
Beneficiaries.
Right. I talked to a guy somewhat recently where he was looking at his beneficiaries and he realized his beneficiary on his account was his ex-girlfriend. And he's like, we should probably update that. Yeah, you should.
Because if you don't, it's going to her.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it is going to her.
Right. Because even if you, correct me if I'm wrong, but if let's say you made an account 10 years ago, you put somebody on there as the beneficiary, and then you created a will 5 years ago, the will, and even if you say in the will, I want that account to go to this person, I'm pretty sure the beneficiary trumps that.
Yeah. Yep.
So a will is not enough in that case. Make sure your beneficiaries are correct on your accounts.
Yes.
So do an audit, an annual audit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're married and you just default to your spouse, you probably don't need to worry about this too much, but just double check, make sure that actually is how you set it up.
And it's typically a really good way to avoid probate as well. Yeah. So you want to make sure you want to make sure you're using them, but also that they're correct. Because if you don't use it, then there are potential negative tax ramifications.
Explain that a little bit more.
Like if you've got an IRA and it's going to your estate instead of beneficiaries, if your IRA goes to the estate first, it's all getting taxed then.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, instead of giving your beneficiaries 10 years to take it as they please.
Right.
Or if it's your spouse, she can just take it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always important. But I don't think it's enough to just have beneficiaries. I do think, back to the will question, I think it is important to have a will as well.
Yeah. A full estate plan.
Right.
Powers of attorney, whatever, that living directive or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff that an estate planning attorney can help you out with.
Because if you do have young kids, the question, let's say you and your spouse both pass away, you got into a car accident out on a date night and your kids are left without parents. Terrible. But you should have, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Because otherwise the courts will decide.
Yep. That better be a good judge.
Exactly. So you don't want that. You want to make that decision so that they're in the right hands if you were to pass away.
Yeah.
Does anybody know your passwords? We've touched on this already, but passwords to your investment accounts, bank accounts, social media even. I think there's a number of places where you'll have some passwords that your spouse, loved ones should probably be able to get into so that they can close things out or do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one this morning, actually. I have a password aggregator that keeps all of my passwords, but I don't think anybody knows my password to that password aggregator.
Yeah.
It's on my phone.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't have just said that, but it is on my phone.
If you want some money, steal Logan's phone. You can get everything. Who manages the investments? If you're the one that's primarily responsible for the financial health of your family and you were to pass away, you should have a plan to help your spouse with that. And that's, again, where a financial advisor can come in and be a really helpful resource so that your spouse isn't suddenly responsible for all this other stuff that she's never done before. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how to rebalance an account. I don't know what we're putting our money in. I don't know all this stuff. Let's not add stress to an already stressful situation.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other issues here?
I mean, we touched on probate a little bit, but yeah, just make sure when you're creating the estate plan, do it in as tax efficient manner as possible, and avoid kind of probate where it's most practical. And the children and guardianship, we already addressed that with the will.
I think a practical way to test this is to ask your spouse tonight, if something happened to me tonight, what would you do first? Just see what their answer is. Yep. If it's confusion, you might have a little bit of work to do, and that's okay. We can always be a little bit more prepared than we were today. And I think some ideas here, we talk a lot around the office about having some kind of like burn-proof safe in your house that you can keep some important stuff in so that your spouse and you both know how to access it. It's, again, burn-proof. If there was a fire in the house, this is an important thing that you want to keep some important stuff safe.
Yeah, and I would say keep it locked as well.
Yeah,
because it would also be a disaster if somebody broke in and stole it.
True. And this is a way to again protect your spouse, protect your family, but just have a kind of a centralized location that you should probably keep up to date. Again, wills, you could have made your will 15 years ago. You might want to revisit that every once in a while to make sure that's still, again, the beneficiary thing. All these things. This should not be something that you just do once and then you never have to worry about it again. It should be something that maybe an annual audit again, just take a look at it, make sure everything's up to date and there's nothing else that you need to add to that box. But just have a place, kind of an emergency preparedness thing, where all the important documents are gathered in one single location, so your spouse doesn't have to look all over the house, all over different computers, whatever you have, your phone. They just have it in one spot. Mm-hmm. 1 Timothy 5:8, we share this verse a lot, but it's anybody that doesn't provide for his own household is worse than an unbeliever. That there's scriptural precedent and that places a huge amount of importance on this. That you this is a responsibility that you have as a husband and as a parent and as just a responsible Christian.
And you can feel like you're providing by accumulating wealth, but again, it's the preparedness and making sure that people will know what to do and where to go and what you have if something were to happen to you. I also remember clients that we had who they were both going into like an assisted living facility, and the granddaughter came to us with it was like 10 boxes of files. They kept nothing digitally, and they kept files all over their house. And she had no idea what they had. She just brought 10 full file boxes into our office. And she was like, can you guys go through these and figure out what all they had? And it took forever.
I bet.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do everybody a favor and simplify things and keep good records, keep good track of it. Not like, I think that could be another issue is like you almost keep you keep so much stuff that maybe 70% of that was unnecessary. Like it's just like you have every statement from your one account for the past 10 years. You don't need that. You just need the most recent one. Yeah. That's really that's the most important thing.
Because if people don't know and you have that much stuff, I think there's always going to continue to be a question of, well, did we find everything they have?
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts on this question before we move on to the next one?
No, I think we're good.
All right, question number 2. Could you retire 5 years earlier than planned?
Why 5?
Just if it kind of forces you to think in how flexible is my plan? Because you might not have any desire to retire 5 years early, but it might not be within your control. Mm-hmm. There could be an injury. There could be burnout.
Ageism.
Yeah. You could get fired. You might have parents that suddenly really need some care. We had clients that reached out fairly recently and indicated this kind of thing. We're like, hey, what if we retired? Our parents need some more help. Could we just retire now and support them? That's a great question to be able to answer. And that's one of the advantages of having a financial advisor who can help you answer that question. But if you're doing DIYing it, figure out a way to answer this question. Yep. If you were forced to, could you actually survive with a 5-year retirement that's 5 years earlier than you planned?
Yeah, that makes sense. All those examples are good. I do think, hopefully, now I had mentioned ageism, so it's not always going to be the case, but hopefully if you burn out, maybe you can find something else.
Right.
With health issues, hopefully have a disability policy that can cover at least a decent amount of the income. Mm-hmm. And the layoffs, getting fired, things like that. Again, hopefully, kind of depends on the job market that we're in, but hopefully you can end up finding something else.
Right. Yeah, those are just different questions you have to ask. Does it change your Social Security timing? Do you have to reduce spending to make this work? I think having that answer in the back of your mind, worst case scenario, I get fired or I lose my job or I stop working for one reason or another. Our spending has to stay at this level in order for it to be sustainable. And just knowing that can give you the peace of mind that you need to go, we would be okay with that.
Yeah. Do you have a disability policy?
Right. Do you know, like, if let's assume you're planning a retirement at 65 and suddenly that number is 60, well, you've now got a 5-year gap here where before Medicare kicks in, where you'll have to think about healthcare, private healthcare, before you get to age 65. And that's not terribly cheap. So you'll have to account for that in your expenses. And can you afford that? Can you prepare for that? On the Social Security thing, I actually was thinking about this because in last week's episode, we talked about this a little bit. And I mentioned how delaying Social Security is how you can maximize the amount of money that you ultimately receive from the government. And the break-even point is usually around 78 or so, when that number, where that, 8 to however many years, like if you could collect as early as 62 and as late as 70. So you've got a potential 8-year window where you could have been collecting this whole time. That catches up after about 10 years, around age 78. And I mentioned delaying to 70 is a good idea because you get more money ultimately. If you just make it past age 78, you'll have gotten more money from the government through Social Security. But you brought up a good point, and you said, well, if you just invested it that whole time, if you didn't need that money and you invested it that whole time from age 62, let's assume that's when you took it, the returns could actually outpace the delay, increased benefit. So I have a little quiz for you, the break-even points on these figures. So again, I already gave you the first one. With 0% returns, if we're just talking cash or that you're using this money, this Social Security money, we'll just compare taking it at 62 versus 67. So the full retirement age at 67 versus the earliest you can take it at age 62. Again, that break-even point is around age 78, where the total amount that you have received in benefits, in cash, breaks even around age 78, and then beyond, it makes sense to delay.
Okay.
But if you were to invest all of that money, and let's assume 5% returns, what age do you think that break even takes place? If we're comparing 62 with 67?
71.
No, sorry. No, it wouldn't. It's the other way around.
Huh?
So if you start taking it at 62,
Yeah.
and you're investing at 5% that whole time,
Right.
how long does it take for the 67 taker to catch up to the person that's been investing that whole time?
Oh, okay. 83.
Age 88.
Wow.
So it pushes it out another whole decade. If you're able to actually, now again, this is all if you don't need this money to spend and you can actually invest that Social Security money, it takes an extra decade before that catches up. So taking it early makes sense. And if the returns increase, it makes it even longer. So if it's 7% returns, what age do you think that break even happens?
90.
It's like 119. So it's kind of a catch-22 because if you need the money then it makes sense to take it, even though you're using it all. And if you don't need the money, then it makes sense to take it early as well, because you can just invest it the whole time and you can kind of outpace the increased benefit that you'd be receiving later. So I'm not saying it always makes sense to take it at 62, but it's just an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so could you retire 5 years earlier? That's the question that you need to be able to answer.
And I think most people, well, I'll pose this as a question to you. Do you think most people are prepared for this?
To retire 5 years early?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I have this figure. What do you think the median net worth in the U.S. is for people aged 55 to 64?
I feel like I saw something like this recently. Median? I don't think it's that high. Like, I think it's 400,000 or something.
Wow. 385. Good
Wow.
job.
I'm locked in today.
I think average was like 1.6 million, but median's 385.
Right. I know the median figures are, yeah. When you see median numbers, it always looks like, what? That's the median income in my area? It's like way lower, but that is different than the average.
Yeah. It helps get rid of the outliers.
Right.
or better account for them, not get rid of them.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just want to know, or especially as you get older, as you're in your 40s into 50s and get obviously later than that, you're starting to think more about your retirement. And I think it's just a helpful thing to ask yourself, could I do it? Could I do it early if I had to?
Yeah.
All right. Question number 3. If your income stopped tomorrow, how long would you be okay?
Yes, this gets into some of what we talked about last time with like your liquid funds and what you have that you could start pulling from and how long it would last.
Yeah. So the last question was about how flexible your plan, and this is about how much margin you have.
Yeah.
And are you prepared if you lost your job today? How long your family could survive before you were to be able to recreate your income or get a new job to replace what you were making before. That's why we always say 3 to 6 months of living expenses in an emergency fund. If you're a dual income family, it can probably lean more towards three months because you would at least have your spouse's income still, presumably, as long as you guys both don't get fired the same day, to make up for your loss of income. But if it's if you're a single income family, it probably makes sense to lean more towards 6 months of expenses so that you have extra buffer to replace that income with whatever your job search looks like.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to make it clear because I don't think the camera was on me. I was able to move my feet around and not kick the sign off.
Give it a rest, man. My goodness.
Look,
it happens, you know? Nobody's perfect, including me.
I'm pretty perfect with this episode.
Whatever. So we got your emergency funds. You mentioned disability insurance with a previous question, but again, this absolutely is a good question. Do you have some disability in place if you lost your income due to a disability or an injury or something like that? Do you have something that could help fill some gaps in the time being?
Don't go try to disable yourself, though.
Don't do that. Do you have other means of income, like a rental unit or something, or you own a small business, side hustles, things like that? And if if you're not prepared for this, you might have to be prepared for things like, I'm gonna do DoorDash to make some extra money here. Yeah. You got to do whatever you got to do to make it work for your family. You don't want to be racking up loads and loads of high interest debt just to make it by. You want to try to weather the storm without that as much as you possibly can.
I was one of my daughter's friends came over yesterday, and she was there until like 7-ish last night. Later than we were thinking, but her mom, to make a little bit of extra income, drives around the Amish.
Is that a thing?
Apparently, it's what she makes money off of it.
So they're not allowed to do it themselves, but they're okay with somebody else doing it for them?
Paying people to do it, yeah.
That's crazy. Man, I bet that's a nice job. Yeah. Like they're probably so pleasant to deal with, and they've probably never seen a car before.
Yesterday, she had one of those big vans. I can't remember what they're called. There's a name for them. But like one of those big ones.
Okay. Wow. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, there's all sorts of little side incomes.
Yeah, you can get creative.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And I feel like it's easier than ever with what's available at your disposal with AI and all this stuff. You can just ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I make an extra $15,000 per year if I needed to right now? It'll give you some decent ideas.
At one point, I was using an app where I could take surveys and get paid for them. I did it for like a day, and then I realized I'm getting paid like $3 an hour.
Yeah, I know. I tried the same thing. I was like, I could take as many surveys as I want. And I'm like, this takes a lot of time to take these stinking surveys. This is not a good use of my time. I've mentioned this on another episode. I like to call it a break glass in case of emergency budget, where suddenly the luxuries are out the door. What you might normally spend, you might go out to dinner once a month with your family. Have a version of your budget that like takes all luxuries out, and that is your living expenses all of a sudden when you lose your job. You're not using your emergency fund to still fund adventures and excursions and nice dinners and things like that.
Golf.
You're just trying to survive until you get a new job. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Unless your emergency fund is so fully funded that you can actually support that. But most people, you're going to be going on a strict budget, getting real lean until you can replace your income.
No more Wawa.
Yeah, no more Wawa. No more Netflix. Cancel it. It's only $7 a month or whatever it is, but still, it's got to go.
You don't have it, do you?
No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near $7 a month anymore.
Is it? It's not?
I don't think so. I think it's like 20.
22? That's ridiculous. Well, who's paying for that? That's the last I was on it, I was like, this isn't, I canceled it because I was like, I don't even like anything on here. $22. That's crazy.
Yeah, I haven't, it's probably been a year or so since I've used it. I was only really using it because my kids loved the show Spirit.
Yeah, okay. Is that horse show?
Yeah.
I also think that when it comes to the break glass in case of emergency, I think it might be fun. It might actually not be fun to do it, but a good exercise is to actually do it right now. To have I saw this idea like a no spend month where you're only allowed to spend money on food, your bills, gas for your car, and that's it.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
Right. But just do it for 1 month as a challenge.
No, I don't want to.
And listen. So that you're prepared, that you go, hey, I can do this. If I lose my job, I can do it. But in that month when you do it, you save a whole lot of extra money.
I can do it. I just know I can do it.
You should try it.
No.
We're going to make August a no spend month for Plan to Prosper. And we're going to...
One of us is going to do that and the other one's going to be really happy during podcasts.
Report during the whole thing. I mean, I'm still going to buy coffee and stuff, but...
Oh, so you're not...
I mean, coffee beans. I'm not going to Starbucks and spending $10 on it.
If you lost your job...
I'm drinking coffee.
Wow.
How else am I going to get a job without coffee?
Selfish.
That's ridiculous.
Your poor kids are sitting there begging for cereal and you're sitting there drinking your coffee.
Dude, our kids are mad addicted to cereal. We made the biggest mistake of our lives when we introduced that to them. They won't eat anything else in the morning. They're little sugar addicts. It's crazy. All right. Was there anything else on that one? If you lost your income tomorrow.
What expenses remain?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that question. Yeah. Like, what do you have?
Yeah. House.
What do you need to spend money on?
What do you need to provide?
That is your focus.
I wrote giving, but it looks like I wrote give, but it looks like I wrote gin. That's not remaining.
I do love gin, but you probably shouldn't be spending money on gin if you lose your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So giving, would you say, all right, if you lost your job tomorrow, should you still give?
Well, I think it can go down, but assuming I still have investments and everything, I'm still making something. Mm-hmm. So I would hope. I also have a donor advised fund. So
you've already given it in that sense.
Yeah. I don't know, and I'm not gonna try to find out.
Yeah.
Let me know in August when you're doing nothing whether or not you're gonna give.
In this case, I would still be making money, so I would still be giving.
True.
But the widow and her 2 mites is a good example. I think still maybe giving something, even as like a, let me just demonstrate this priority in my life. But it might and probably need to go way down because you're not actually bringing in income all of a sudden, most likely. So just something to consider. But it's a good question to be able to answer. If I lost my income tomorrow, how long could my family survive?
Yeah.
Those were our 3 questions. We have one little bonus question before we wrap things up today. And what is that?
Does your money reflect what you actually value?
Yeah.
So this one makes you need to think about it. You need to kind of reflect on what you value and how your money's working.
Right. If you were to look at your bank statement or your credit card statement, whatever you spend, whatever your spending account is, if it's a credit card or your debit card or whatever, where's that money going? What are you spending your money on each month? Does that reflect your value? Is it a lot of frivolous stuff? Is it a lot of unnecessary stuff? Is it a lot of luxury stuff? Is it geared towards what your goals are and what you value?
You'll see Dalton and his $7 Netflix charges.
Yeah. All my coffee and gin. I'm just kidding. I don't really buy gin. But if somebody reviewed your calendar, what does your calendar look like? What's it full of? Is it full of, I don't know. Your calendar can get full with a lot of stuff, but is it the things that you actually value, or is it stuff that just kind of happens?
Do you have anything on your calendar?
Good point. You should probably have something.
Yeah.
What does your spending look like? What does your saving look like? What does your giving look like? All these things.
It can be really easy to not intentionally give.
Yeah.
Just like every $5 request you get in the mail. Just, oh, yeah, what's another 5?
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's okay too.
I mean,
I think it's a sign of a generous person when they're just like, yeah, sure.
yeah, but I think you should be intentional about it. Like my grandmother was probably the worst at it. I think she gave to like 100 different organizations, but she was giving like $5 to each.
Yeah.
I would argue that like in a year, each of those organizations probably didn't need that $5.
Right. Yeah, I think there should be a both and to your giving, that there is intentional giving and margin for additional spontaneous random giving.
Yeah.
So you have your things that you're passionate about that you're giving the majority of your money to. It's probably your local church for the majority of people, but that there's some other things where you just go, yeah, I can donate to this cause because they asked for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why are you saving? What is the ultimate goal?
Yeah. Yeah, some people just like, they can't help themselves and they just want to accumulate as much as possible. I think there's some potential greed traps here. But for a good amount of people, it is just like the necessity of saving for retirement and preparing for that kind of stuff where you won't be a burden on other people because you've prepared well. You're financially healthy and you're saving for the right reasons. But ask yourself that question. What are the reasons that I'm doing it?
Are you just hoarding?
Yeah, because there's a difference. So that was really what we had today. Just wanted to tease these 3 questions, give them to you as a way to pause and think through what your answers are and how prepared are you for these different situations that could realistically arise. And I think it's important to be able to answer them.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say you should probably make sure you're answering all 4.
All 4. Yeah. The 4th one is important too.
Yeah.
So we'll count it.
Yeah. You said a little bonus. I think it's probably the most important.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it'll also tie into some of the other questions. Like if you value your children, you'll make sure that they're taken care of after you pass.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of ties in a little bit on some of the other questions, but yeah, it's just good to make sure all the aspects of your financial life are being reflected.
Yeah.
And your values are being reflected in all aspects of your financial life.
Yes. So if you heard these questions today and you had the answers, Johnny on the spot for each of them, nice work. This just reinforced that you're doing the right things and that you're on the right track and you're financially healthy. You're in a good spot. If you're a little dicey on some of them or all of them,
like if you're like, yeah, I did an estate plan, but it's 10 years old. And since then I've had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Like, good job. You did an estate plan, but it needs to be updated.
Yeah. You just might have some work to do
Probably.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay too. I think your financial life you never really arrive. It's like anything else in life. You're going to keep working on it, keep tinkering with it. Even when you get to retirement, there will be continual adjustments that you need to make to your financial plan, even though you're not making income anymore, at least not earned income through some kind of vocation. You will still make adjustments along the way because that's what life's all about. Making these little adjustments here and there and making sure that things are dialed in exactly how they should be and how you want them to be. Check your accounts, check your beneficiaries. Is your will up to date? All these things should be kind of continually on our minds to make sure that everything is the way we need it to be.
Are you good at adjustments?
Yeah, very good.
You like habit though.
True. But if I see something that needs, like if it comes to mind that an adjustment needs to be made, I can't rest until that adjustment has been made.
Okay. That's fair.
So I like the habits. I like locking in, but then I also want to make sure that it's always correct. I don't want to be stuck in old habits that are wrong.
Yeah.
So we'll make the adjustments, get the new habits going.
Yeah. Fair.
Good. Do you have any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
I don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, we already teased it. Next week is our 1 year of Plan to Prosper episode. So we'll have something special. Tune in for that.
Now I don't know what you're going to do.
Neither do I, but it will be good. And we will see you then.
Oh, man. If Dalton comes up with nothing, you're going to see him, but not me.
Fine. That's the deal. And then we'll get into August and we'll do a no spend month and we'll be cruising.
And you'll see who's happy and who's not when I don't participate in no spend month.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Tune in again next week. God bless.
God bless.
Investment advisory services offered through Stonecrop Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This material is intended for informational purposes only.